Hey guys, this is Dave, and this is the Daily Diesel Live. So, I was on a call earlier. I was on a live earlier, and I was talking about the rules of engagement when we're fighting with our partners, and I was reminded of my buddy Gerald Pimpleton. And what's going on, George? What's going on, Nick? Michael, how are we? And I was reminded of my buddy Gerald, and I was watching him the other day, and I love this guy, and I was listening to him, and he said something very interesting. Gerald, my brother, how are you? Good to see you. So Gerald said something that I deeply agree with, and I kind of wanted to get into today, just because I'm thinking about it. It was relevant to what we were talking about earlier. This idea that you cannot hold your partner and a scorecard at the same time. It doesn't work. Okay, and Gerald explains this much better than I do, and I absolutely love the guy. But it's something that I've talked about for a long time, and not quite in those words, but it just resonated with me a few days ago, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And I was talking to Brad today. It just kind of came up, this idea of keeping score, this idea that anytime that me and a friend, me and a lover, me and a partner, me and a wife, me and anybody, or anytime that I think that I can keep score with another human and have a connection with them, I can't. We get into this idea of transactional relationships. Okay? And transactional relationships are fine when I am paying somebody to do something for me. My relationship with my gardener is a transactional relationship. He does a thing, and I pay him to do it. My relationship with my dry cleaner is a transactional relationship, and if they don't dry clean my clothes properly, I don't pay them. On the other side, if I don't pay them, they don't dry clean my clothes. Okay, so it's a transactional relationship. The entire relationship is based on a transaction. Sure, there's friendliness and a rapport that's developed when I drop off my shirts, but it's a transactional relationship. Any relationship, any personal relationship, any relationship that I would like to develop beyond a transactional relationship, I can't keep scoring. What I get to do is I get to hold my own boundaries on. I get to have my own expectations. I get to have my own opinions, and I get to set my own boundaries. I get to communicate my own boundaries in those relationships. So what I get to do is I get to communicate with the people in my life that I choose to have a relationship with. I cannot sit there and keep score. I cannot do it. I've paid for dinner this many times. You've been an asshole that many times. I've told this lie, that lie, and the other lie, but you've cleaned the bathroom this amount of times. Anytime that we're keeping score, okay, we've reduced the relationship to a transactional relationship. Okay, that means that now that we're making change. Okay, that means now I'm making change in this relationship. I'm counting up everything that I've done and everything that you've done. We've put it together. We've created a tally, and now I'm making change. Okay, that is not a personal relationship. That is a transactional relationship. Okay, and anytime that my personal relationships, my romantic relationships, my heterosexual platonic relationships, even my even my platonic relationships with the opposite sex, anytime that I start keeping score, anytime I start counting up the debits and the credits, okay, it becomes a transactional relationship, and which is fine, so long as I've expressed that it's a transactional relationship. So long as we've had the conversation that it's a transactional relationship. It's either emotionally transactional, it is financially transactional, it is acts of service transactional, but it becomes transactional. It means that the relationship, my willingness to be in this relationship is based on your willingness to perform X, Y, and Z, and you have the same expectations of me. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But the minute that I start keeping score, it becomes transactional. It devalues the worth of the entire connection. Right? No, exactly. So this isn't going to be real long. I was just thinking about it, and I was on a long live earlier today, and it's just something that's on my mind, because we were talking about the rules of engagement in conflict resolution in relationships. So I want to put this out there. I want to just put it out there that anytime that you are keeping score, understand you've entered into a transactional relationship with your partner. Okay? At this point, you guys might as well be a customer and a proprietor at a 7-Eleven. Okay? It's now a transactional relationship. I give you this, and then you give me that, and then we argue over the price of this. Okay, we argue over the price. I'm going to argue over the price of sex. I'm going to argue over the price of love. I'm going to argue over the price of emotional connection. Okay, because I think that you should pay more for my emotional connection than cleaning the bathrooms twice a month and taking out the trash. You think that I should pay more from an emotional connection with you than throwing my clothes on the floor or making dinner a few times a week. Okay, now we're in a transactional relationship and we're arguing about the price. When we are keeping score, we are in a transactional relationship and we are haggling. We are arguing that I'm paying more than I'm getting, or you're, paying more than you're getting. And we are ruining a relationship because we are haggling over the price of emotional connection. We're haggling over the price of this emotional connection even more. Okay? We're arguing the price of this emotional connection. Not even all emotional connection. Not even other emotional connections. We are haggling the price of this emotional connection, which just a short while ago, when we couldn't keep our hands off each other, when it was brand new, when it was exciting, when it was new, when it was fun, we couldn't keep our hands off each other, we couldn't wait to see each other, couldn't stay off the phone with each other. Okay, work's falling down around us because we just stopped giving a shit, right? And we can't keep our hands off each other. We weren't haggling over the price of emotional connection then. Now we are. Now the honeymoon's over and we're haggling over the price of emotional connection. So it's interesting. It's interesting at what point we think we can begin to negotiate that price. Which is a whole lot different than setting boundaries and holding them. It's a whole lot different than setting boundaries, having uncomfortable conversations, developing a healthy give and take in a relationship, because there's always a healthy give and take in a relationship. However, and since my buddy Kirk Lyons is here, I will say this: the one time that you can keep score in a relationship is when both people in the relationship both do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and they are rolling and there's a score to be kept. Then you can keep score in a relationship and it's all good. However, aside from that, when we're keeping score, How are you, brother? It's good to see you, man. When we're keeping score, what we're doing is I'm making sure that I'm getting all of the love. I'm making sure that I'm getting all of the connection that I believe that I've paid for. I'm making sure that I'm getting all, and I'm not being cheated. That means that you're not paying less for this connection than I am. That's what, that's what I'm doing when I'm keeping score. I'm making sure that you're not paying less for this connection than I am. I'm keeping an eye on what you're paying for that. What are you paying for that? How many times did you make dinner this week? How many times have you taken out the trash this month? How many loads of laundry have you done? Okay? How many times have you made the bed? How many times have you, picked up the floor? How many times have you swept the kitchen? Or what bills have you paid? How many times did you buy the groceries? Whatever it is. Okay, so now we're keeping score. Now I'm wondering if you're paying less for this connection. And the fact of the matter is that an emotional connection is something I give. An emotional connection is something I give. I give it and you give it. Okay, everything else around it is irrelevant. Everything around it is irrelevant. I give emotional connection because I want emotional connection. When we start parsing out what it costs here and there, it stops being an emotional connection. It begins being a transactional connection. It begins being a transactional relationship. And everything that we have worked so hard to make this relationship become is now done. Okay? Yeah, no, exactly. We're now haggling. We're now haggling. I'm making sure, and really, I'm just making sure that you're paying as much as that I'm paying. Actually, I'm making sure that you're paying as much as I think as I'm paying. That's what I'm really doing. I'm making sure that you are making what I believe is the same investment as I am, and that's where I get real concerned when we start keeping score. Are you investing as much as I am? Are you putting in as much as I am? Are you getting away cheaper for your emotional connection than this? Bottom line is, I either give my emotional connection or I do not. I either give my emotional connection or I do not. Okay? And what you do, whether you clean the bathrooms or wash the dishes or make the bed or sweep the floors or buy the groceries or pay the bills, whatever it is you do, has nothing to do with whether or not I am willing to extend emotional connection, whether I give emotional connection. A lot of these things develop as we need to learn to live together. See, but loving somebody is easy. Loving somebody is easy. Okay? My girlfriend's real easy to love. She ain't hard to love. She's beautiful and she's charming. She's wonderful to be around. Okay? Living with somebody is difficult. Okay? Living with somebody, that's where compromise, that's where emotional maturity, that's where emotional openness, that's where connection with my own emotional maturity, my own emotional safety, that's where connection with that is dependent upon me. That's what I bring into a relationship. I bring emotional maturity into a relationship. And if I don't bring emotional maturity into a relationship, if I don't bring emotional connection and emotional stability into a relationship, it is not going to be stable. It is not going to be there. It is not going to be available. When I bring it, regardless of whether you bring it or not, when I bring emotional stability, emotional maturity, emotional connection, when I bring those things, I am capable of having a healthy, engaged relationship, regardless of what you bring. Now, if you don't bring any of that, I'm not as a person with mature emotions, with healthy emotions, I'm not going to stay in that relationship very long. But water seeks its own level. You attract what you are. You want to know what you are, look at what you're attracting. by the way. I'm just saying, if you want to know where you stand, look at what you're attracting. If you're attracting lunatics, if you're attracting the emotionally unavailable, if you're attracting the emotionally immature, there's a strong possibility that that's where you are. And it's definitely worth taking a look at. It's how it works. Water seeks its own level absolutely every single time. We attract what we are. I work with a lot of clients, and we talk a lot about love. We talk a lot about relationships. We talk a lot about finding that other. We talk a lot about, how do I find that other? How do I find that other that I want? And we do this a lot. Make a list of every single characteristic that you want in that other, every single characteristic that you want in your person. Okay, every single characteristic that you want that your partner to be. And guys will always, men and women, they do it the same, okay? Because nobody's got the market cornered on sick. Nobody's got the market cornered on fucked up. Nobody's got the market cornered on emotionally unavailable. Men and women do it exactly the same. Their lists are a little bit different, but they're exactly the same. And what they do is everybody makes these unbelievable lists of this Mr. Wonderful human being, this Miss Wonderful human being. They make these amazing, elaborate, beautiful lists, and they create this perfect, amazing human being, all these characteristics that they want in their other. And then we go down the list and we look at all these things, self-sufficient, romantic, and this and that, and giving and loving and strong, and health conscious, and whatever it is, and everybody's different. Everybody has their own list, but everybody gets into these lists, right? I'm like, all right, great, that's an amazing list. This would be an amazing human being. Become all that shit and she'll show up. Become this list and she'll show up. Become everything you just listed on this list and she'll be there. She will appear out of thin fucking air. I promise you. She will trip over you in the grocery store. You become everything on this list and she will show up. You become everything on your list of what you want in a man, and he will show up. Water seeks its own level. You will absolutely attract what you are. And if what you are is a score-keeping, transactional relationship having human, you will attract somebody who keeps score, who's having a transactional relationship. You guys will have a tumultuous, fabulous transactional relationship, and you will both move on from that relationship. And unless you mature emotionally, you will have the same relationship again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And how come I keep dating the same loser? I don't know. What's the common denominator? Guys, ladies, I work with a lot of people. I spend a lot of time talking to people about how to find love, about how to find this connection. Okay? And if this is something that you struggle with, I keep dating the same idiot, I keep dating the same girl over and over and over again. I keep being in the same lame relationship over and over and over again. Let me assure you, you are the common denominator. I would also like to assure you that it does not need to remain that way. Okay? All of us could use a little bit of help. All of us could use a little bit of guidance. All of us could use a little bit of coaching. All of us could use a little bit of outside influence. All of us could use a little bit of outside perspective when we're attempting to navigate this world. That's why we have coaches. That's why everybody operating at a high level in this world, every athlete, every musician, every actor, every businessman, every politician, that's why everybody acting at a high level in this world has a coach, at least a coach, sometimes several coaches. Athletes have multiple coaches. that are specifically there for specific things. Actors, singers, performers of all stripes, dancers, everybody has coaches. If you would like to perform, if you would like to level up, if you would like to take your experience, if you would like to take where you are and you would like to go to the next level with it, it doesn't matter if it's financial, if it's personal, if it's fear-based. I'd like to step out of being this fear-based human being that I've been. Seek out a coach. Seek out a coach who speaks your language, who talks specifically about your problem, and who engages in a language that you understand. I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to look at lots of coaches. I encourage you to engage lots of people, listen to lots of people. The fun thing about being a coach, one of my favorite things about being a coach is that there is absolutely zero competition in the coaching world. It's the best part about this whole deal. Okay, because my message will only resonate with the people who I can serve. And if my message resonates with you, I urge you to get a hold of me. I urge you to make an appointment. There's a scheduling link right on this thing. I urge you to get a hold of me. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a powerful conversation about what's going on with you, where you would like to see yourself and where you find yourself stuck, where you're not gaining any traction at all and you keep having the same relationship, or you keep having the same relationship with money, or you keep having the same job over and over again, or you keep getting, having the same problem at school, you keep having the same problem at your work, you keep having the same problem in your marriage over and over and over again, you keep having the same problem with money. You are the common denominator in all this shit. If any of this makes sense, if any of this resonates, if you struggle with this, if this stuff keeps you up at night, if you struggle with the fear, if you struggle with this stuff, I encourage you, make an appointment with me. Let's have this conversation. Okay? My wheelhouse is taking people who are stuck, who just can't gain any traction. I'm in a job I hate. I'm in a relationship I hate. I'm in a body I hate. I'm in a career I hate. I can't stand it. And I can't seem to gain any momentum in any direction that I want to try. This is what I do. It's what I've been doing for years. I've been working with drug addicts and alcoholics for a very, very long time who could not gain any traction in their lives. And I don't just mean alcoholics and drug addicts straight out of prisons, straight out of San Quentin, straight out of federal penitentiary, straight out of local jails, straight out of homeless shelters, straight out of detox units and rehab centers, but high-powered attorneys, surgeons, doctors, pilots, all stripe of people who, for whatever reason, could not gain any traction in their own life, couldn't figure out how to turn that next thing, and this is what I do, and it's been a glorious time for me. So, and it's why I talk a lot about this stuff. It's why I get into a lot of this stuff. It's why I talk about a diverse set of topics. Right? Because it's not that I'm a finance guy. It's not that I'm a relationship guy necessarily. It's not that I'm a career guy necessarily. I'm a stuck guy. I'm fucking stuck. I'm stuck. I want to be here and I don't know how to get from where I am to where I want to be. I can't even get on that road. That's where I shine. That's where I shine. Okay? That's where I take people who they're just spinning their wheels. And if you feel like you're spinning your wheels, I would love to have the conversation. I would love to have that conversation. Taking people from where they are and leveling them up into powerful, upwardly mobile human beings who are doing the things in their lives that they've always wanted to do, who are finally able to step into the lives that they were supposed to be living this entire time. And I love doing it. I fell in love with it about 18 years ago. I still love it. It is an amazing, amazing process. It's simple but not easy. It is difficult. It is hard. It is worth it. And I absolutely love working with people. I absolutely love it. So if you are in a place where you are spinning your wheels, if you are sitting there taking score and trying to have a healthy relationship, okay? If you're trying to have a healthy relationship while you're keeping score, if you're trying to have a transactional relationship, Professor Sanchez, it's great to see you. Thank you very much for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, ADCC world champion in the house. ADCC champion, baddest man on the planet, Orlando Sanchez in the house. I am blessed by your presence, sir. Guys, the deal is you can have any life that you want. You can have anything in this world that you want. You can have anything that you want if you're willing to do the work to get it, if you're willing to step up into yourself, if you're willing to step into your own power, and if you're willing to ask for some help and some guidance, you can have it all. Okay, and it's a very, very easy process. It's not easy. It's a very simple process. It's a simple process for complex individuals like me that just want to complicate the bejesus out of a life well lived, and it's not that hard, and it's not that complex. I encourage you to make the call. Schedule the appointment. Have the phone call with me. It doesn't cost you anything. Worst thing you got to lose is a 90-minute conversation with a guy whose job it is to pump you up. Thank you, Professor. Guys, I love you. Thanks for paying attention. If you're getting some value out of these lives, do me a favor. Throw some happy, laughy, smiling faces up. Throw some hearts up. Throw some thumbs up. Throw some stuff out there. But the best button you have on your phone, the most important button you have on your phone right now, is that share button. If this message is something that somebody needs to hear, if somebody you know needs to hear this message, hit that share button. Tag them in it. Put it on their wall. Put it in a thing. If you know someone who is absolutely spinning their wheels and can be an amazing human being, if they had this much guidance. Orlando Sanchez is an amazing coach. I have watched his athletes. I mean, he's an amazing athlete, and his athletes, the athletes that he coaches, go on to extraordinary things. Multiple time world champions. And we watch the coaches in this world. We watch the coaches, and what do? They're doing the things that they're teaching. They're doing the work that they're training. They're reaching out, and they are serving other people by the score. And that is what makes a leader. That is what makes a coach. Guys, thank you so much for paying attention. Thanks for being around. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Daily Diesel Live. Check out earlier. I had a great conversation with Brad. This has been a great day. Guys, I love you. Thanks for paying attention. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Tar tags.